Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Rum Regret podcast. I am Andy Drake.
Johanna Myers.
Nate Tussey, and we drink and we know things.
And you can catch us online at rumandregret.com or on Twitter at rum_regret or at Facebook at the Rum and Regret podcast. Tonight, it is Tuesday, July 7th. We are still in the midst of staying at home, not doing a whole lot. And we just thought we'd see where everyone's at and what the hell's going on and talk about the apparent just complete degradation of society around us since this happened. So I know California is sort of blown up. Nate, would you like to discuss sort of what's happening in your neck of the woods?
Not really. I mean, Jesus, it's not like we have enough shit to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know we typically try to keep this podcast apolitical, and I don't want to get too weeded on this thing, but we probably could have picked a better time to try and foment a civil rights revolution, even though there's never a good time. It's always too late if one of those things is required.
Right.
So obviously, Black Lives Matter has been in the news quite a bit. The movement has sparked a lot of protests, a lot of marching, a lot of positivity, and then said positivity weeds out a bunch of underlying negativity. There's been a lot of
props to Martinez for making some headlines in the last 2 days.
Yeah, so we can go into that in a little more detail. I tried to do a little bit of research, but not to say that everything's been peachy. There's been a lot of rioting and burning and looting and that kind of thing. And based on whatever news source is your soup of the day, it's either Black Panthers starting fires, or it's right wing inserts starting fires and breaking down doors and trying to make everybody look bad in peaceful revolution, or it's Antifa, which isn't really a thing,
right?
In my opinion. So there's a lot of misinformation going on there. There have been a lot of people caught that aren't part of the groups that are marching, and they've been the ones that have been breaking. It's like white kids with skateboards breaking down windows and all
right.
People are marching by like, no justice, no peace. Who the fuck is this guy?
Right. Yeah.
That being said, there's, we don't want to go down the bad apple road because that's been used a lot with the police. But specifically in Martinez, I'm pretty sure it was a private citizen, not an organization, that filed with the city to try and get a permit to do a temporary mural, the temporary Black Lives Matter mural.
Mm-hmm.
And a ton of people showed up to paint it. I really wish I'd known. I would have loved to take part in that. I think it's important to raise awareness however you can. It's literally the most benign form of raising awareness,
right,
or protesting that you could think of. And there were dozens of people down there working on it for however long, and it basically spans the entire width of the courthouse on Court Street, and it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's Court Street, but it's amazing. It looks great.
It's the yellow Black Lives Matter.
Exactly. Yeah, and less than an hour after it was done, a couple people, I think from Concord, drove into town with black paint and rollers. And
so they weren't even from Martinez?
From what I've been able to see, and it doesn't look like it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's also, but I don't take that as gospel. I might be wrong, but it really doesn't matter because they have supporters coming out of the woodwork saying, why the hell did the city allow this Marxist group, Black Lives Matter, putting their sign on our sovereign land? Like, it's just, it's so thick. I have to stay out of those forums because it's just, it's bad. There's been a lot of really great kind of peaceful gatherings and speeches and marches and stuff in Martinez specifically. There's a couple different groups that have done that. There haven't been a lot of counter protesting, which you'd think would happen more. given the demographic that apparently Martinez has had forever. I mean, I knew there was a lot of country boy redneck style people, but I don't want to judge automatically and assume they're all racist. But
Right. Yeah.
I like to fish and shoot and big trucks and all that, even though I don't have one. But anyway, I only own a few sleeveless shirts, so maybe that I age out with that. But yeah, I'm kind of just wondering at this point. But it seems, COVID-19 is really tough, and on its own, without people thinking that wearing a mask is giving up their freedom, and on compounding the Black Lives Matter movement, compounding somebody drawing a gun at people trying to protect the mural. Apparently,
Right.
he got arrested, and hopefully he'll be charged with at least brandishing. I'm not sure what that is because he's right in front of the courthouse. Undercover
Right.
cops there.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully he's allowed to have a concealed weapon because otherwise he's in deep shit.
Yeah. Is the courthouse
anyway.
operating right now?
Yeah,
It is.
skeleton crew as far as I know. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I believe things are still happening there. So yeah, I'm sorry, that was kind of all over the place, but
No. That's good. And I mean, and we can dig in, but I just sort of want to get, and then, and just for the record, you're still looking for a gig, still looking for work.
yeah. Hashtag get Nate hired.
Hashtag get Nate
apparently
hired.
is a thing. Yeah. So project management, program management, I'll pretty much do anything. It'd be, well, I mean, within reason. Nobody's paying me money off the street. Let's just leave it at that. But never close doors before they open, I guess.
You miss every ball you don't swing at.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, way to go, Joe, for the sports reference. All right.
And
it's
sports
outta
ball.
here.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah,
don't
that's
make me miss baseball more than I already miss it, Joe. Shit.
My
that's
bad.
that's another thing I want to bring up is the apparent return of sports after
Poor
Joe
joke.
gets a shot here. So Joe's been on a world tour and just got home.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a world tour. Definitely a Midwestern tour.
All right.
America tour.
Yeah.
So after a month-long vacation to the homestead in Wyoming, I'm back in California.
Nice. Yeah. And now you still aren't working, but your job is essentially there when you're needed, right?
Yeah, so I've been kind of half-ass working from home, and I'm actually, now that I'm done with vacation, I'm going to start possibly going in just here and there as needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're kind of slow goings because, we don't have a lot of work. So
Right.
without work, we don't have money. Without money, we can't pay people to be at work. So
Right.
yeah, kind of
Yeah.
pickings are slim these days.
Gotcha. All right.
But
and
yeah, it was interesting being out of state and kind of getting the out of state. I mean, like, not to say you're not out of state, Andy, but basically getting kind of a red state
right.
look at things.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you get out of California, COVID-19, nobody gives a fuck. Like,
Right.
masks are optional. Nobody really cares. And, the town my folks live in is 800 people, no sweat. So it's kind of like, not as big a deal.
Right.
Which was actually kind of refreshing. I know I'm probably going to catch a lot of crap for that, but it was nice to not have to pack a mask everywhere you go and kind of wonder like, oh, do I wear a mask? Do I not? And, it's kind of, I got a little bit of normalcy,
Sure.
which was
Or
nice.
Is it normalcy?
Normalcy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Normality or normalcy, but you highlighted those very
Take
well.
your pick.
Hybridized
Yeah.
them very well.
Hitchhiker's Guide is normality, right?
I think so.
Normality has been restored.
Yes.
Okay.
But
What's
yeah.
normal, man? All right.
What are cows?
Hey, what are cows? So where do you, and I mean, we can we can structure this however we want. We probably should have talked about this before we started rolling and recording, but I mean, do we want to take it bit by bit? Do we want to sort of talk about how it's sort of, and affecting us in what way? I know we got sort of the base rundown by Nate, but Joe, is there an element of sort of what's going on right now that you sort of feel particularly strong about? And I know it's funny to ask you that because just knowing you, you're not necessarily a strong feeler of things.
I'm a strong feeler of things. I'm just not a vocal feeler of things. So,
that's
I
right.
kind of keep everything close to my chest. But, for
Yeah.
the most part, everything just makes me sad. Because
Yes.
I'm like, how are we not past this as a species? Just like, come on, man.
Right.
Can't we all just get along?
Yeah. Right.
It's really, really, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
And, it's a bummer too that it's dividing people. Like, even I see it on a grand scale, but I also see it on a small scale, and it just sucks.
Yeah.
All the way around, whatever way you slice it, it really, really sucks. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. And yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. And I think that is honestly the best way to put it, is how are we not past this yet? And I think that sort of these issues they've been brought to light for the past few years in certain regards, but they've never really sort of been acted on, and my sort of popular theory is that it took something like being told to stay at home for 3 months to sort of push everybody out and get everybody sort of riled up to the point that then, something like George Floyd getting killed happens to sort of restart, reignite the embers of, oh yeah, this shit's still happening. And then everything just sort of gets pushed and moved on because of the current state of politics and the real sort of division of, how everybody feels about the current state of things. And so that's where I come from, is that like you, like how are we not sitting down at a table talking about what the issue is and how we can fix it and how we can get past it?
Well, can't we Star Trek this shit out? Like, haven't we gotten to that point yet?
Right. Exactly. And so that's where I sort of fall on the spectrum. Is that where we are right now. I'm shocked that these are the measures that sort of need to happen to get people to listen and to get people sort of up out of their chairs and everything. But people have been in their chairs for 3 months that this happens. It's like, you know what? No, you can tell me to stay. I'm not fucking staying home anymore.
Well, no, like, one of the things that kind of opened my eyes a little bit was, I was talking to a friend of mine about like all the looting and rioting and all that stuff. And, she told me, like, think about like all of the big changes happened in our country over history.
Yeah.
A lot of it and most of it has been the real changes happened because of looting and rioting, like things like Stonewall and the Boston Tea Party. And, it's like, if you actually sit down and like think about it, it's like, oh yeah, remember back in history when we learned about all this change that happened and stuff, people took to the streets and, got all up in arms, and that's when actual shit happened and got down. Yeah. Well, and now it's happening here, and it's like, all these looters and rioters are blah, 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 blah. It's like, think back to what you learned in 6th grade.
Right.
Yeah. Civil rights movement and women's suffrage and gay rights. And the status quo is never moved towards the right side of history in a peaceful way ever. From what I can recall. I mean, there always has to be some kind of jolt to the system to wake people up and say, hey, you know, the status quo might be great for you, but it's not great for everybody. So how about we try to get a little closer to that?
Right.
You know, and to your point, Joe, it's disgusting that we're still here in 2020. We're still dealing with this, but it's never been dealt with, to your point. And, you know, people have brought attention to it and sacrificed careers to bring attention to it. And people have been speaking about it forever, you know, and the power structure serves rich white men, and they're fine with the way things are. And until they're not fine with the way things are, nothing is going to change. So thankfully, some things are starting to move a little bit. There's legislation that's actually getting pushed through Congress and state and local governments that will help move things a little bit. And hopefully that'll actually affect some real change. Obviously, Twitler's not going to help sign anything into law. So hopefully after November, we get somebody that actually has some empathy and can run the country in a way that serves all Americans as opposed to a certain percentage. So.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I you know, there's a disconnect for me in just sort of, and I don't know if I don't know where I'm sort of headed with this, but you know, I'm like I said, I would hope, and this is just me being me, like I would hope it wouldn't have to come to this to get change. You know, that's like, and that's
nice.
that's the thing. And I think, again, this sort of goes to what Joe says. It's just like, why does it need to go here for everyone to stand up and listen, and for everyone to come together in the certain aspect? But, and that's the sort of depressing part for me is, like I said, we should just be able to look at something and say, no. This is wrong. And yeah, there are several aspects of how you can look at one singular event to twist it and turn it to how you view sort of what happened. And, you know, again, if I see sort of a 10-second clip of some sort of just crazy, insane sort of behavior, you know, I don't want to necessarily take that 10-second clip as gospel. Yes, that's probably, you know, this was sort of the catalyst that happened, but what happened before it? You know, what happened an hour prior? What happened 20 minutes prior to this, to where we got here? And I think that's, and again, it's just looking at the bigger picture of things. And I think that's where sort of you know, there is a larger picture of sort of what needs to happen. But again, I think people sort of lose focus on that. And, you know, that's where I'm going is I want, you know, for change to happen, I want sort of people to focus. But you hit the nail on the head, Nate, is that's unfortunately right now, our leadership is focused on sort of sound bites and clickbait. And that's
Division instead of unity, so he can win an election. That's
and again, but that's what it's why you watch the news and you see nothing but bad stories. You see nothing, because the good stories just aren't what moves the meter. And unfortunately, that's where we're at now. And that's sort of the leadership that's there is, you know, he wants people to talk just to move the meter. And that's not, you know, that's not the environment for healthy discussion.
Yeah, I think we have to be really careful about talking about, I mean, we can give our perspective and offer it up as this is our perspective from our background and where we're coming from. We have no idea what it is like to be a person of color in this country. And we don't really have a right to kind of say, hey, can you guys be a little nicer about it? You know, and I know we're not saying that, but there's a great video that played at the end of John Oliver a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if you guys watched that show, but
no, I didn't.
Kimberly Jones gave this impassioned speech that basically, I think they titled it "We Can't Win," and it's her. She goes off for 6 minutes, and it's amazing. And it's basically, a news camera filming her just on the street, and they're asking, why are you guys rioting? Why are you guys looting? And she goes off, and she's insanely, her clarity of thought with some of the things that she says while being so, moved to tears and just furious is really kind of, it's inspiring, and it really opens your eyes. She's like, why the fuck do I care about a Target burning down when you expect us to honor the social contract that we entered into, but you're killing us in numbers that are completely opposite to that. You're not policing the police to make sure everybody's getting a fair shake.
Right.
We're getting completely snowed up. So you broke the contract. Why do I give a shit about a Target burning?
Right.
Let that motherfucker burn. At least people are taking notice to what's going on. So,
yeah.
And that's a really, and I'm sorry, I completely murdered that. It's really worth your time to watch, because some of the things she says are insanely easy to understand. It's like, let's say you play 400 rounds of Monopoly with somebody, but you're not allowed to have money or own any property.
Yeah.
How are you expecting to get ahead in that game? Now, let's say you play 50 more rounds and you're allowed to own properties and collect money, but all that stuff is taken from you. Maybe you get a share of it. How are you expected to build anything?
Right.
And that kind of thing. So it adds a lot of points of perspective and a lot of really good metaphors to kind of help people that haven't experienced what it's like.
Right.
And it's really eye-opening, and just it's basically an impassioned plea. It's like, what the fuck, guys? We've been doing this for a long time. Can we let's fix this shit already? And I think everyone's saying that.
Yeah. And that was it for me too, is that, again, as a white male, we just don't have that perspective. But our friend Paul Manning shared an image not too long ago, I think probably like a month ago, that said, when I get pulled over by a cop, my thoughts, this asshole, what did I even do? I'm going to have to pay. I'm going to be late. The speeding sucks. Never once did I think, this is how I'm going to die.
Right.
That's white privilege. And that was sort of the one that got me. Like that was, and because, that's the one that I could sort of relate to. And really sort of put things into perspective for me. Because, I have lived in sort of a fanciful bubble where I've worked with people of color that were higher ranked, made way more money than I did, and everything. And so, the perspective was always there that just anybody could do it, but that's just not how it is, and it all starts with just sort of the opportunities that were given, because of where we grew up and where we are and just sort of what we had. So.
Yeah, there was a really good article I read the other day where they're basically defining white privilege in the most basic terms. So even people that don't believe it's real can kind of understand how it's hard for you to even accept that it's real because of your white privilege.
Yeah.
It's basically, it doesn't mean that you're not going to struggle in life. It doesn't mean you're not going to have challenges in life. It just means you're not going to have additional challenges, struggles, gates, doors, fences, challenges because of your skin color. That's
right.
all it means. That's the easiest way to explain it. You're going to have everyone's going to have shit to deal with in life. Everyone's going to go through hard times. People are going to be born rich and be born poor. That's regardless of your race, your skin color. But the easiest way to explain it is basically, imagine all of the trials, anything that you've had to do that's really hard in life, any of that stuff. Now add a bunch of extra things on top of it because your skin doesn't match other people's, or because you're a person of color. That's
right.
That's really the easiest way to understand it.
Yeah. So what do we think that's stopping change right now? Is it the leadership, or is it just strictly just sort of fear of change?
Well, I don't know, Joe. Do you want to jump in here? I feel like I've been talking too much.
I don't know. I think it's a lot of it's leadership. It's people afraid of change. It's people feeling like change that is not needed. It's there's a whole rigmarole of shit going on. So it's take your pick.
Right. Yeah. And again, I don't know. I sort of equate it to the they're taking our jobs episode of South Park, where I feel like that's sort of what the country's worried about. Is that if for some reason everyone is truly equal, what does that mean for me? And I think that's where this certain group of people that are causing sort of all the shit right now, is I think that's sort of the fear.
Yeah,
of
I'm
where
okay
we're
with
at.
everybody being equal, but
Right,
dot, dot, dot.
exactly. Yeah.
Are we talking immigration now? I'm confused. I couldn't draw the connection there between.
No, if that's part of it, and again, that's one other issue, because what's funny right now is that the wall's getting built. I think that's funny that he snuck all sort of these things. He's under the cover of the pandemic to sort of get these things going, but it's I don't know. It's such a messed up time in terms of sort of the fear of going out and contracting a disease versus the fear of going out and possibly ending up in a riot, or
Getting killed by cops.
Right, the fear of going out and getting
Yeah, there you go. Imagine living that fear every day.
Right. Yeah.
Just because, if I go out and I buy a squirt gun for my little sister and it's in my hoodie, give me that.
If I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time, yeah. Right. No, absolutely.
Yeah. So just to answer your question a little more directly, Andy, about what was the question originally? It was, why do you think what's stopping change? Is that what it was?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the white male establishment, really. It's the same reason why people get upset when like the Navy finally decides to ban the rebel flag,
right?
And when they're tearing down statues of Confederate generals in the Deep South and renaming army bases from white supremacist and other titles and things of that nature. It's people don't like change. People are comfortable with the status quo as long as it serves them. But we're touching back on that again. It's interesting that the people that are railing against the rebel flag and the Confederate statues and that kind of thing, I don't think they really understand so the Confederate flag was a flag for traitors that lost the Civil War, and has been around in our society for less time than the Golden Girls. So if you think about it, the Golden Girls have been around longer than the Confederacy and don't have any statues or flags. So maybe we should fix that. All those statues, not all, most of the statues of the Confederate generals that are being torn down weren't from the Civil War. They're not like mausoleums. These aren't where these guys are buried. These are statues that were erected during Jim Crow to basically frighten black people. So yes, tear them all the fuck down. I don't care. Get them out of here. They're not, I don't care if you think it's part of your heritage. You're an idiot. It's not part of your heritage. It's a symbol of hatred and division. And if you were actually a real American, you would stand up for your fellow citizens and make sure they have the same rights as you.
Right. And that's the thing. It's, we learn about these people in school. That's what we do. We don't we don't need these symbols to remind us of how awful these people were.
There's not statues of Hitler littered around Germany.
Exactly.
Everybody in Germany can remember what happened because they learned.
In fact, Nazi paraphernalia is banned in Germany, but now there's new symbols that are coming out from Cheeto leader that look eerily similar to. Have you seen this iconography coming out? Like the shirt with the eagle with the flat wings, although they're raised a little bit, and it has like a circle underneath.
No, yeah, I haven't seen this.
They're selling a baseball on the Trump website for $88, which 88 apparently is a number related to Nazism. It's just, there's a lot of stuff that is really just blatant fuck yous to decent people, and I don't know it. This is why I don't like going down this road, because I keep going over different points, and I just keep getting angrier and angrier, and it's so frustrating. It's like, Jesus, guys, there's enough shit to deal with in the world. Right. Taking care of your family and people getting sick and fucking a pandemic and making sure you have a decent job and providing for your kids. And, I've got goddamn bad Wi-Fi and my Xbox isn't updating. I mean, there's all kinds of things. We're not going to put anything in front of the other, but God damn it. If I get killed in fucking Call of Duty again because of lag, I'm going to be really pissed.
That used to be first world problems.
I know, exactly right. There's enough shit going on without thinking you're better than everybody else just because of your color of your skin, man. Get the fuck over it.
Yeah. It's second nature to us because of sort of where we grew up, and I mean, it's everybody comes from a different background, and their experience is different from mine, and but what's completely foreign and like, why the fuck would these people react this way? To me, for me to say that, again, it's, we have to put ourselves in their position, but again, it just seems that just basic fucking common decency should click in everybody's brain to say, hey, let me look at this from the other perspective and let's try to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
But that just doesn't fucking happen.
Well, yeah, and it's not. So yeah, you're right. It doesn't happen, but it's also an inability to actually understand it. It's not. Right. So it'd be great if. So yeah, let's say everybody decides to take a minute and put down their Budweiser or whatever. No offense, their Miller Lite, and and actually decide to take a look at the problem. Most people aren't going to have the capacity to think outside of themselves long enough to even fathom it. And it's not always that people don't want to do it. It's that they literally do not have the faculties to do it. I don't either. None of us do.
No, that's the
whole
truth.
Point.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, is it's impossible for us to know. We can try and empathize.
Right.
But there's no way we can ever understand exactly what it's like. And that's one of the hard parts. And, we were talking about the whole hope and change thing. People just don't care. I mean, they're set in their ways, and regardless of their age, the thing that strikes me as the most kind of depressing and most telling thing is that little kids, like in kindergarten or whatever, they don't hate anybody.
Right. Yeah.
Racists aren't born, they're made.
Oh yeah.
And that's the shitty part of it, because you're actively teaching hate to your children. And it's like, what is the Westboro Baptist Church that protests soldiers' funerals? Like, God loves dead soldiers of gay people. They have little kids that are related to the people, members of the church, holding up signs like that, and shit like that.
Yeah.
There's no way to legalize or legalese your way out of that. Hate crime is a hate crime is a hate crime. But then what happens if you arrest the parents for hate crimes and the kids go into systems and they're not getting taken care of there either? It is a vicious cycle. But the main thing to understand is that hate is taught. It's not inherent. So just
right.
can be nicer to people, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think the next question. Well, one thing I think that is interesting through all of this, and again, when we initially sort of jumped into this, we sort of talked over a bunch of different topics, but now we sort of circled the Black Lives Matter. But I find it interesting too now that the mask has become a political statement.
Yeah.
Face palm on the mic.
Right. Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And it's funny to me to scroll through my Twitter feed and see sort of these videos of one guy doing the scientific experiment, telling us that breathing into a mask is producing all of these toxins, where then immediately 1 hour later you get another another video of a guy wearing 3 masks saying nope, nothing's changed. Yeah, it's funny because I've been watching the White House press conferences on the daily, which
Jesus.
Yeah.
You're okay. Is that why you're wait, we won't talk about medical issues, but is that why?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, I mean, and they're interesting to watch because it's fun to find out what the media focuses on from day to day. But then second, just sort of and again, this boils down to all of the information out there that none of it is 100% correct, and you have to weed through so much to get the right information, and who knows what the right information is these days. But you boil down to, and again, I've quoted this on the podcast several times, Obi-Wan fucking Kenobi saying, your truths are based on your point of views.
Okay,
and
no, stop.
What?
Stop yourself. No, stop it.
Right.
There is an objective truth. Your point of view has nothing to fucking do with it.
Okay. But I'm saying that's what's out there right now.
Well, I know that's what people believe because they're selfish assholes.
Right. I'm gonna reason my truth just because of my point of view. And that's the completely total messed up part of it. So.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to shut you down, Andy. It reminds me. No, you're right. You're right though, because that discussions. Right. No, but you're right. You're right because that's what people are doing. They're like, "Oh, I have my truth. This is what my truth is." It reminds me. One of my old bosses at Click Safety used to say, "Perception is reality." It's this great business term that they love to throw around. You know what? Fuck you. There is an objective reality. Your perception has nothing to do with it. Your perception may be your reality, but it's not the reality. Right. There is a consensus reality of what science is, even though it's not 100% infallible. That's why it's called science and not religion. Science changes when there's new evidence. Religion does not. So that's why you don't it's not the church of hypotheses.
Right.
Okay. So we have experts that are highly educated people. This is the same argument for global warming. The majority of the experts agree masks will help prevent transmission of this disease. Masks both ways, if you have it or if you don't have it. There's memes everywhere that have 2 people looking at each other. There's a percent of contracting something within 6 feet. No masks, 1 mask on the person that has it, 1 that doesn't, and then going down to both masks. If both people have masks on, it's a very fucking low percentage you're going to get anything.
Right.
Well, the thing that I've encountered is in this, it's one, the fact that masks actually have the little disclaimer is not effective against coronavirus because they have to have a disclaimer because if they don't, they get fucking sued.
Right.
I mean, that's just the thing of it.
It's not actually protecting you from the virus. It's the droplet that
people don't understand how this works.
Exactly right.
It's the meme where it's like, you can smell a fart that tells you masks don't work. It's like, that's not how this virus transmitted. Oh my God. It's not airborne. It's the droplets. The mask is basically helping you to say it, don't spray it.
The fart
test. That's the whole point
that's
of the
great.
fucking mask.
I love that. I love that analogy. The fact that they used farts as a metric immediately you're done. I don't need to listen to anything else that that person has to say.
Yeah.
So if I
Breathing
can smell it, then
Click.
Breathing in scent isn't gonna. That's not how it's transmitted. It's
All right.
It's the actual droplets, your saliva, your
That is incredible.
snot. That's what it's trying to prevent getting out.
What's hilarious too is the whole idea that it prevents oxygen from getting to you, but oxygen is 250 times smaller than a virus. So if it doesn't block a virus, then it doesn't block oxygen. You can't have it one way or the other. But yeah, to your point, Joe, it's blocking the droplet is the idea, not the actual virus, because that's so small. You'd have to have HEPA filters and all kinds of shit to worry about that.
But that's another aspect of all of the disappointing sort of state of our nation is that the need to push out this misinformation about what the mask does. Like why do they need to twist the facts here to make a video to make you scared of wearing a mask?
Well, and my whole thing is it really that hard? Like, yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it sucks. We all hate doing it, but it's like that. Like, if I saw a great thing that it's like, you hate wearing a mask, think about how you're going to feel wearing a respirator.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to hate a ventilator if you hate a mask.
Like that kind of thing. And it's like, come on, it all sucks. We all hate it, but just do it so we can get over this and get back to, kind of somewhat status quo.
Look up Michael Rappaport's Twitter. I saw something.
Oh, I saw that.
There. Yeah, it's fucking great. He's wearing a mask and he's like, look, you wear the mask when you're around people, and when you're not around people, you fucking take it down. Okay? That's it. You fucking put the mask on when you're around people, and then you fucking take it down. It's very easy.
Easy peasy.
It's so great.
Yeah.
And like if you look at New Zealand, like they did it right. They locked their shit down. Everybody did what the government said because they trust their government. I wonder what that's like. And they're good to go. Like, if we would have done that.
Well,
we'll see. They're better. They're in a better
now. Right now,
they're in a better situation than we are in.
Yeah, they don't have. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah,
so,
it's interesting to see how we're. We're number one at least, though.
Right. No. So, yeah, still going strong.
Yeah. MAGA.
Yeah. So, and again, there's so much, I don't know, there's so much going on now at this particular time. It's hard to get it all. And
it's a great time to try and get rid of the Affordable Care Act and to withdraw from the World Health Organization.
Seriously.
So, let's just keep pushing that like a dead horse over the cliff.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, you get a boss who just did not have the experience for the job.
Well, yeah, but not having experience is different than actively trying to kill you, and not like actively not giving a fuck is different than being incompetent.
Right. Yeah.
So let's not roll all the incompetent managers into that same fucking mass grave that Trump is in. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and this is, and again, I this is a funny question and it's impossible to answer, but I wanted to ask it anyway to you guys. 3 months from now, where are we?
Oh, man.
Hopefully the aliens will come and put us all out of our misery.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Elon Musk reveals himself as a Martian and leads us all to Mars because Earth is contaminated. I don't know.
Elon Musk is out of here, dude. He's gonna figure out like how to get out. Go back to his home planet with XB21012 or whatever his kid's name is.
Why do you think he sent that roadster into space? He can teleport to the roadster. That's why it's out there.
Right.
So that's an impossible question. Imagine where we were 3 months ago.
Right.
I mean, maybe more like 4 months ago. In late February, when I was laid off, imagine where we were. There wasn't really a care in the world other than employment, and it's not. 3 months from now, kids should be in school. They're not going to be.
Right.
I think in general. I think
on the. I'm sorry, Nate.
No, it's okay. I was just going to finish up real quick. I think it's grossly irresponsible to open schools back up. You can't expose people to biomes that they aren't in a part of now. There's just too much we don't know. And there's no, this is a really great opportunity for companies like Microsoft and Google to really step the hell up and develop an amazing distance learning capability. It's
like
not
the Oasis.
yeah. I mean, let's not go. I mean, yes, I'm all for it. Let's throw as much money as we can into creating the Oasis, but it'll be better than the movie, that's for sure. So
see our podcast about Ready Player One.
Yeah, exactly.
I just spit my water out because I had the flashback of us walking out of the theater, seeing that movie, and you just on your rant.
Oh my God, I was so upset. I would have left if you guys weren't there. I think I said that before. Yeah, it's really kind of impossible to say. Hopefully the Senate decides that this record unemployment is important enough to actually extend unemployment benefits federally. That'd be great.
Yeah.
There really needs to be some kind of government assistance program for mortgage holders and renters and landlords, all of the above, especially in the Bay Area, because Jesus Christ, it's so expensive to live here.
Right.
There needs to be a complete overhaul of what the expectations are for people and what states and counties and cities are mandating, and there really needs to be a better way to communicate that information to people. I don't care if you use the emergency broadcast network or whatever it is. If you live in X zip code, you are required to wear a mask under penalty of civil whatever 4135. You get a fine. I have to read another Facebook post about how masks are optional and they're detrimental to your health. I'm gonna fucking scream.
Yeah.
And I think it all points back to bad leadership at the top. I think Newsom did a great job jumping into it as quickly as he did as far as trying to lock things down. I think we opened up things too early again. And I think I don't want to put that all on him because there's obviously tons of pressure from the largest state, like 40 million people.
Right.
People need to get back to work. People are losing their businesses and their jobs and their homes, and all of those things need to be handled at a federal level as well. You need to be able to talk to the banks and have them put a moratorium on mortgages, like I was talking about. Backload those payments. The banks don't give a shit about the near term. They're all about the long term anyway. That's why it's a 30-year loan. So just tack those payments onto the back end of their loan. It's not hard to do.
I don't understand why they're not doing that, because our mortgage, we get what do they call it? It's basically it's paused, but the minute it's unpaused, you have to pay all that back. Right. It's not tacked on the other end. It's like, how is anybody expected to do that? It's been 3 months we've been out of work. So who's got 3 months worth of back mortgage sitting in their pocket? Right. If they did, they wouldn't have put a pause on it anyway. They would just give the mortgage. Like, it's ridiculous.
No average American does. That's what they were saying. Yeah. It's like I think the average American is 2 major incidents away from being homeless or something like that. Or
oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
It's just it's disgusting. Yeah. So. Yeah, and I think, obviously those things aren't happening because the rich and powerful people that make all the money are not allowing that to happen. McConnell and et cetera. I read a thing today where they're talking about the next stimulus package will only help people that make up to $40,000 a year because McConnell said those are the people that are getting hurt the most. Like, yeah, okay, they're getting hurt, but at least normal unemployment is not so far off of what they're making as opposed to other people, and especially people in this area that have to pay for a lot more expensive shit. It's basically his way of saying fuck you to the people that are on the coast typically. You make more where it costs more to live typically. So we'll see. We really need to get a lot of the corruption out of this whole small business PPP loan stuff, because apparently his wife, McConnell's wife, her company got millions of dollars.
That's right. Yeah.
A lot of other companies did too that shouldn't have, but And I feel for people that have businesses. I mean, I have a friend of a friend who has a jujitsu studio that's hasn't done anything for months and months and months, and they're going to lose their business, So,
Yeah.
it really sucks. And that's where the government needs to step in and actually help those people more,
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Kate Brown, the governor of Oregon, has been sort of one step behind Gavin Newsom in sort of her proclamations, and it seems like everything that California has done, we do the next day, which is just interesting. And Oregon has sort of, has been slow to open up again, but and again, we never really had the blow up that California did. And, the little youth karate shop just opened back up down in West Salem, which is interesting. I saw a Little League game getting played over the weekend, which I didn't think should happen, but that's what I think. I don't know. Again, I agree with you, Nate. I think there's a lot of shit needs to happen before people can feel safe to open their door again and walk outside and get back to sort of where we're at. But yeah, we definitely everybody needs help from this isn't by no means over. I don't know sort of where we are in 3 months. That's the thing.
Yeah, I
think it could just be anything.
Best case scenario, we're at where we are now. Worst case scenario for me would be it's just going to get worse as people get more taxed and pissed off, and it's just like, we already had this pandemic, and then George Floyd got killed, and that just added fuel to the fire. And it's I kind of feel like we're either gonna just deal with both of these issues, and that's going to be kind of where we go, or possibly something else happens that makes it even worse, or who knows. But
well, yeah, have you heard about the other swine flu coming out of China? And
right,
apparently there might be some bubonic plague stirring around. Like man-sized bats in the Philippines, murder hornets. I mean,
people frighten me. I'll just leave it at that.
No shit.
And isn't California on fire again?
Yeah, there was some evacuations actually in Brentwood and Oakley, I think, today.
Right.
Yep, we're coming up on fire season, yeah. So
there's one up in Yuma. I mean, imagine how bad the respiratory situation is going to be then.
Bro, yeah, totally.
And there's no masks. I mean, I'm sure it's a better stock than there was before, but it's not like it was last year.
That's when you need the N95 mask or the respiratory mask is for shit like that.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the particulates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I bought a couple. They're not whole home, but they're like basically room-sized filtration systems. I forget what I'm thinking.
Gotcha. Air purifiers.
Want to work right. Air purifiers. Thank you, Jesus. My brain is checked out.
Oh man, crazy.
On that note, do we want to lighten the mood with the game talk?
Yeah.
No, fuck everybody.
So Nate, what are you watching these days?
Yeah. Besides the country that I love going down in flames. Hamilton on Disney Plus.
Okay. How was it?
Fantastic. And I can only, I'm a big teddy bear. I cried a couple different times just watching the freaking TV show. And I think maybe it's just because everyone's a little more sensitive than they are now. But if I had seen that shit live, I would have been kind of sobbing, I think, maybe. Because Addie's it's Addie's fault. I blame her for half of it because she's reaching over and grabbing my hand. There's a part where somebody's son dies and she's grabbing my hand and she's all teary-eyed and like, no. It's absolutely fantastic. We've been listening to the music kind of nonstop after we watched it.
Oh, cool.
Which hasn't really happened since like the latest Disney movie that she watched.
Sure. Yeah.
like a Frozen type experience. Yeah, I can't wait to see it live once the world. I mean, if the world ever gets back to whatever normalcy, whatever we want to call normalcy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was brilliant. Edited apparently, there was some Disneyification as far as
Right.
language and some of the content, but it's totally worth the time. Spoiler alert: the actor that plays King George is my favorite. So
Okay.
just keep that in mind as you go in to watch it. It's the best, the best thing ever. I love it.
Okay.
God, what else? I finished Lock and Key, like you
Nice.
suggested. That was really good. We've been watching we actually watched The Hobbit last weekend,
Okay.
or the weekend before last, and then we're 2 movies into The Lord of the Rings after
Okay.
previously finishing Marvel, that whole run.
Oh,
so we've been
geez.
doing, we've been doing some deep nerd dives with the kiddo, and she's trying to decide if she wants to go Star Wars next or something else, because we're actively watching all of the Star Wars animations kind of in between.
Oh,
So
cool. Okay.
we finished all the Clone Wars. We're almost done with Rebels.
Yeah.
So the Star Wars saga is probably a good one to start next.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything more contemporary that I've really been kind of hooked on.
Mm-hmm.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started on TV again. Not really into it as much as I used to be.
Yeah.
Still pretty good.
What is it, like in the
Other
8th
thing-
season now or something like that?
Yeah, it's pretty far up there. I think it's
Yeah.
7, maybe 6 or 7.
Okay.
Oh, Warrior Nun on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah, I wanted
finished
to see
that.
this.
It's actually really good. Man, you're gonna have to, when you're done watching it, let's talk, because the ending is just, we gotta talk.
Okay, so is that something that we need to collectively watch and discuss, do you think?
Oh, dude, it's
on a
bad.
future?
Like, it's right up your alley, Joe. It's a bunch of badass chicks kicking ass. Like, just do it. It's so good.
Okay.
And they're
Right.
I think they're like 40-minute episodes or something like that. So you can,
Okay.
I think there's only 8 or 9. So you can burst through it pretty quickly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's fun. It's some really cool kind of twists towards the end, and just in general, it's a cool concept. Just maybe watch the first episode and then let's talk about it. Just off that. I mean, it's totally worth it.
Okay.
Right on.
Yeah.
And then just a lot of 3D printing how-tos and stuff
Sure.
like that.
Yeah. Joe, what are you watching these days?
Well, since I've been on vacation, TV's been a little funky. But,
Yeah.
I ended up watching a ridiculous amount of NCIS with my dad. And I've never
Of course.
actually watched NCIS before. It was the Los Angeles one. And
with Robin,
LL Cool J.
and Robin and LL Cool J. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was actually really. I got hooked on that one pretty hard.
Yeah.
But rewatching Hannibal, since it's now on Netflix and it's free, so everybody please watch it so we can get a 4th season, please. And then Mom made me watch both the first Kingsman movie, because I had never seen either of them. And we watched the first Kingsman and then immediately the second one right after it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been. Oh, and then after we got home, I was looking on Netflix, and there's a 4th season of F is for Family with Bill Burr that I'm so excited about. So we started watching that.
Nice. Yeah, we've been watching. We jumped into Outlander finally after everybody in the world told us to watch it. We're sort of halfway through the 2nd season right now. And it's a really incredible show. I just love it so far. I love that Netflix gets these foreign series. So I've been watching this one called Better Than Us. It's I don't know if you guys saw Humans or not. Anyway, it's basically a ripoff of Humans, where there are service robots in society, and then they function by Asimov's laws. So they can't harm anybody unless harmed. Anyway, So uh, it's it's an okay series. It's not great, and it's dubbed. And it's funny. You can tell that they didn't really get the A-list sort of voice talent to come in on this one. So it's it's sort of hilariously bad in that aspect. And it took like 9 episodes, and this is how bad it was to sort of for me to actually like to get in it and actually pay attention to an episode, and because I usually have it on in the background as when I'm working. But then they finally got to a plot point where I got sort of excited about it. So by no means am I telling you to watch this. I just want to sort of confess of how stupid
it's a slow burn.
of how stupid I feel for sticking with it for so long. So yeah, so that's and then we are watching Stargirl, which I know Nate you hate, but it's we love it. It's again, I love all the Justice Society of America stuff, and I love that they're rebuilding a new one. And I just love that Luke Wilson is sort of back on TV and working. Anyway, what else are we watching? I think I mean that's pretty much been it for us in that regard. Nate, what are you playing these days?
Man, I'm kind of deep into Sea of Thieves right now.
Oh, really?
So this is a game that came out on Xbox 2 years ago, maybe. I think it was 2018. To like a terrible reception.
Yeah,
there wasn't enough to do and all that. So basically, it's a pirate simulator, is the easiest way to say it.
okay.
Probably one of the best kind of water weather simulations I've ever seen, as far as the way the physics and the way the water refracts light and white caps and shit like that.
Okay.
So Assassin's Creed 4, I think Black Flag was probably the best kind of actual pirate video game simulator that it's of its time, and I think Sea of Thieves tried to build on that.
Okay.
It's different than an Assassin's Creed game, though. So you can either play by yourself on a small little boat, little sloop that has 2 little cannons, and you're going around doing missions and that kind of thing. You can find treasure maps, and then you have to figure out, okay, where's that X is by that. Okay, there you have a giant map in your little cabin, and you're like, okay, the shape of that island is, okay, maybe it's that one. Okay, great, we'll go sail over there. Deal with the tacking into the wind, and like you adjust your sails, and you got to worry about reefs, and if you actually end up in the water, you have to worry about sharks. And then there's also like megalodons and kraken and giant kind of world-sized events that happen. There's other players that will gank your shit because you're pirates.
Oh wow.
There's random skeletal ships that'll rise out of the water next to you and start bombarding you with cannons. And
no way.
you have to defend yourself, shoot them back, and then repair the hull and bail water and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
Probably the best thing about the game is the audio. It is so immersive with just the wind and the waves and the birds and whatever. And when you're underwater, if you have headphones on or like decent sound, it's almost agoraphobic with how expansive the water is.
Okay.
And the sound mix and everything in it is just really well done. And then, if you're sailing from, over to Pirates Cove or Smuggler's Bay or whatever, and then you hear this don't like this crazy almost like a Jaws-ish theme, and then you look to the side and you see this neon purple fin that's as big as your boat cutting through the water. You're like, man, shit, that's a fucking megalodon. There's different kinds of them. Like I haven't actually experienced the Kraken yet. I've seen it happen to other boats, like off this island, where it's just this giant roiling mass of tentacles in like a several hundred feet across area, and then I didn't see the actual boat get disintegrated. I just saw all the splashing in the middle.
Oh wow.
It's super fun, and I've just been running on this one. There's a bunch of different kind of factions you can run with. There's a faction that's basically headhunting other pirates. There's a faction that are tradesmen, where you can take cargo from point A to point B and make money and get renown. The one that I've been running through has been the Gold Hoarders faction, which basically they give you treasure maps or clues to finding treasure maps, or like, hey, go to there. Here's an actual, like a pirate's riddle. It's, if you go to this place, look for the campsite on the North Shore, and then there's 3 other statements underneath it that are completely grayed out, and you have to kind of figure out how to get them to reveal themselves.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So the second line will reveal itself once you're standing on the North Shore of this island, and then it's like, woo, and then you can actually read it, and it says, go find the grave of the Parrot King on the northeast slope or whatever. Then you got to take out your compass and find the northeast slope, and then, hey, look, there's a grave that has parrot feathers everywhere. This is probably it. And then you raise your lantern or whatever it tells you to do, and then the next line shows up and it says, 10 paces from the cannoneer's bucket, turn east and then dig, and you'll find whatever, fuck it. Like it rhymes.
Right. Nice.
But it's super fun, and you can play with your friends online. So when you jump in, you can either do like the adventure mode, which is the high seas, do whatever you want, or you can go into a dedicated PvP area, which is basically just ship-to-ship battles.
Yeah.
And then you get to choose 3 different size ships. There's a sloop, which is a 2-man ship. There's I forget what the middle one's called. Actually, I forget what the other 2 are called because all I do is the sloop. Yeah. The next one I think is up to 4 people, and then the next one is up to 8 people, maybe 6. So it goes 1 sail to a 2 sail like brigadier ship, and then a 3-masted like triple decked 6 cannons on each side kind of monster man of war type situation.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And you actually have to man the ship. Like you have to raise the anchor, you have to lower and raise the sails and adjust the sails, and it's I'm going off a little bit about it. It's really fun.
You're making me actually want to play it again, because I actually bought the game, and
dude, we could play together.
Just like a little bit. It just, I don't know. I couldn't get into it.
Well, Joe, I can be your guide because we can be on the same goddamn boat.
Are you gonna be my pirate Sherpa?
I could be your dirty pirate Sherpa. Yes.
Okay.
No, Sherpa, not hooker.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, thank you. All right.
Just to be clear, let's
my Sherpa let's make sure. The mountain of pirate.
Yeah, let's make sure everybody knows what the Sherpa means.
Right.
That's funny. The only other thing I've really been playing is Modern Warfare Warzone, that giant 150, 200 person PvP first person shooter. It's fucking intense and really hard. So
Gotcha. Joe, what are you playing?
Oh wait, Minecraft Dungeons. That was the other thing.
Oh, okay. Oh, still playing. Okay. How is that?
Amazing. Expansion just came out, and it's Addie and I are back into it. It's super fun. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. Joe, what do you got? What are you playing?
I'll give you 2 guesses.
Animal Crossing.
Yes.
Hey.
Friendship Island.
They just released now you can dive and you can hunt for sea creatures at the bottom of the sea. So, yeah, I'm still playing Animal Crossing for the probably 6th week in a row, 9th week in a row.
Okay.
It's taken over my life.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm either playing it on the Switch or I'm playing Pocket Camp on my phone. So yeah, it's all Animal Crossing.
Okay.
Wait, cool. What's Pocket Camp?
It's the mobile version. It came out just a little bit before New Horizons, but yeah,
it's
fancy. On a side note, Addie's just reinstalled Pokemon Go and is going completely apeshit on that.
Oh, geez.
So
nice.
That's a fun one.
Nice. Yeah. So when I can wrestle the controller away from Xander, who has been playing Minecraft nonstop since school got out, I have still been playing Borderlands 3. And the Bounty of Blood just came out, the last DLC, which is I think I'm about a third of the way through it so far, and it's really good. It's great. It's basically an Old West sort of storyline, and they have it's great. They have a sort of a voiceover guy that progresses the story for you in the vein of those old sort of Westerns. And the Vault Hunter came to a sign, and the sign said, "You're gonna die." So something like that, and it's nice. It's great.
So Sam Elliott's in the game?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, and I think I've mentioned this before, but on my phone, I'm still playing Injustice 2. but I'm also playing this game called Dungeon Boss. It was this game that like a year ago, Xander saw it and thought one of the skeletons was cute, so we downloaded it so he could play on his tablet. But then I just completely got obsessed with it. and so yeah, I've been logging in daily to run my daily quests on Dungeon Boss. But
what's it called? Dungeon Boss?
Dungeon Boss, and it's just such a fun game. I don't know, it's just they have great references. So for example, the latest event,
Dungeon Boss Heroes.
No, just Dungeon Boss.
Dungeon Boss. I'm not getting it.
Okay. But anyway, like the great pop culture references, and like the latest event was called Firestorm Saga. I don't know if you guys watched Eurovision yet. The new Will Ferrell movie on Netflix. Him and Rachel McAdams. Jamie and I watched it. It's actually pretty good. It's very much in the vein of a Will Ferrell movie and good. So I definitely recommend that if you have nothing else to watch on a Friday or Saturday night and just want something funny. But yeah, decent supporting cast. Dan Stevens, the guy who was in Legion, is in it as sort of the bad Russian singer. But anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. Any more sort of tidbits or nuggets of wisdom?
Actually, yeah. So, being out in the wilderness and not having signal, I read a book.
What?
I grabbed one of it's a book I've had forever that I've never actually read cover to cover. It's called The 21 Lessons of Merlin, a study in Druid magic and lore.
Ooh.
And it's really interesting because it's kind of half the story of Merlin training Arthur as a boy, and then half actual Druid history. So it's like you go through, like, there's a chapter of just like the story, and then there's a chapter of like, here's like the rite that they did based on these writings that from actual history. And so it's kind of neat.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's been really neat, fun.
Yeah.
And, just like, we'll be out and hiking, and Ken will find a spot where he wants to, shoot his gun, and I'll just set up my chair and, read a couple chapters in my book. And so it's been nice.
Oh, nice. How many pages?
I'm not sure, but I'm about halfway through it. So
okay.
And
cool.
it's a pretty thick book. I mean, nobody can see this, but it's like about yay thick.
Oh, I got
cardboard.
Okay.
There's 37 cardboard pages.
And a pop-up in the middle.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's all pop-up.
All right. All right. Well, no, guys, decent discussion tonight. I know, not our usual topic, but yeah, anyway, it's always good to sort of, to bring it back to reality once in a while and discuss what's happening in the world. So, what are your guys' thoughts on what's happening in the world right now? Let us know. You can find us on Facebook at the Rum Regret Podcast, on Twitter at rum_regret. Joe, where can they find you on the socials?
Joe Chickadee on the socials and at joechickadee.com.
Nate?
Avid gamer everywhere books are sold. Wait. I'm so tired. AV1D gamer on all the socials.
Nice. And then, you can find me at Crazy Drake on Facebook or Andrew Drake on Twitter. Once again, we are the Rum and Regret Podcast. And until the next time, we have spoken.